It's the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy's Seafood, the only Baltimore podcast that had the worst weekend of any other Baltimore podcast.
No.
From a football perspective, that didn't include podcast hosts that all rooted for the Ravens.
No. Say we're the only Maryland
NFL
podcast, Baltimore podcast that had their host on the big screen.
Well, that's true. We can talk about that. We can talk about that. We might have gotten that yesterday. I mean, that's true. I should have said pro football. That is true. Maryland beat SMU on Saturday night. A great swing game win for the Terps. Rolling into the big house. We're going to beat Michigan by 40. Then we're going to come back. We're throwing the script Terps uniforms on. We're going to beat Michigan State by 50. We're going to be ranked number 1 in the country. So the Terps are coming. We've broken through after the win against SMU. We played well. Talia Tagovailoa is 3rd in the country in completion percentage. Tagovailoa is pretty good at football, huh, Ravens fans?
Yeah, regular old Chad Pennington.
People really like that tweet. on Terps. The Ravens fans are not happy with your boy. But I did tweet about Lamar Jackson right before that, and everyone liked that one. So, we're just having fun out there. And then I tweeted something nice about Justin Tucker. Just from an account that has nothing to do with him.
And Stephon Diggs to bring it full circle.
Well, now Stephon Diggs, because, that couldn't have more to do with us, and he is just demolishing your Titans, who look like maybe one of the worst teams in the league, Eric.
Yeah, but listen, this is an AFC South podcast, so...
That is true. This is a Titans podcast when it's convenient for you.
I think I deserve credit for keeping it a very level.
I would agree with you. You go in business for yourself when it's about your fantasy team or LeBron, which is weird that those are the two things as opposed to the Titans.
That I had Waddle on my team. Well, it's also so I don't lose 400 followers like I did.
That's fair.
I think after the 2020 playoff game, I think I lost like 1,300 followers or something like that. It was a lot.
Would you like to make a formal statement about the Titans this evening?
Yeah, they're awful. Like they're bad. Like, and I don't think I've ever I don't dress that up. I don't. I think I'm pretty level-headed with my teams. Like I call it how I see it. I think they're bad right now. Right now, 2 weeks into the season. Right now, they're awful. They're getting dog walked right now. And the only good thing is that they took Josh Allen out. So I have a chance in some of my fantasy games.
Case Keenum. Who knew that he was the backup there?
Today I learned Case Keenum is on the Bills. No, I knew that because they did those like the videos in training camp where he tried to get the players' autographs. They were pretty funny videos.
That's right. They've got a good enough roster where if Allen goes down for a few weeks, like they could get by pretty decent.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit bothersome. I would say.
And this is kind of looking forward. And again, we'll talk about it next week. But Stephon Diggs versus that secondary is your secondary. No. I don't know. And Gabe Davis will probably be back and healthy. He's a weapon. So
let's cross that bridge when we come to it. I actually don't want to start with football. We ran it for 20 minutes yesterday about the Ravens, and we're recording here on a Monday. I think we're going to release this right after. So the fresh thoughts from the Ravens, we'll obviously talk about it in preview this Sunday. But if you want to hear us, emotionally talk about the Ravens, that podcast exists, and it's the Instant Analysis podcast. So I would suggest people go back and watch that, or listen to it. I guess you could theoretically watch it. I don't know if we put that up on YouTube.
No, because I wasn't recording, so I didn't get
I guess I can throw it up there. I don't even know if I want us in that state up on YouTube. There's just like me and my sunglasses, like staring upsetly at the camera, and Banks at times is just like throwing his head back and throwing his head down. It's very entertaining. Maybe we should put it up. It's pretty.
I thought it was good.
But let's talk about the Baltimore Orioles. I think that we'll start with baseball and then move into football. Normally during football season, we start with that, but these are kind of a tight window here. 11-0 loss to the Tigers tonight. Last week, we talked about Toronto. If they could go win one, 2 would be a bonus, but you win one, you maybe feel like you're still in it going into this Tiger series. I will say an emotionally charged Taylor Smythe said that the Orioles were done on Sunday night on the Instant Analysis. So I was not satisfied with one win. But the 11-0 loss to the Tigers is a bit troubling, as the Orioles need to beat teams like the Tigers at this point in the season. And they're now what 5 games back. I don't know if all the games are completed tonight. RDT, I don't know if you were tracking the standings. I meant to have it up,
Yeah.
but I do not.
They're 5 games back. Blue Jays aren't playing. The Rays, I think I'm checking. I don't think they play. No, they lost to the Astros. That's right. They lost to the Astros. The Astros clinched their division.
Congrats to Trey Mancini, friend of the show.
Yes. And they're now chasing Seattle. They're not even chasing Toronto anymore. They're 5 games behind Seattle. Toronto's the number 1 wild card team, with Tampa following them.
Toronto has turned it on.
But yeah, Toronto's turned it on. But again, they're chasing Seattle, and Seattle plays an absolute cakewalk schedule the rest of the way. They have like the Royals, the A's, and I think I want to say the Nats. They have
do you have any games against the Angels? That would help them.
Why? What happened with the Angels?
I don't know. I'm just, they beat them tonight.
Yeah.
Crushed them 9-1.
9-1. Yeah. Real shame. But yeah, this was a series that I was like, all right, the Orioles get the win on Sunday. If they can sweep the Tigers, they could be right there before a big 4-game set versus the Astros, who have everything locked up and clinched, and they're going to be the 1 seed, I believe. Yeah, they're the 1 seed, so they can't improve anything. So it's like, all right, well, maybe they're not going to throw all their guys, whatever. Maybe they may be a little hungover for the Orioles series, but it all goes out the window in the first game of the series when the Orioles struggle to get 2 hits off a guy with like a career 5 ERA. They were getting no hit up until the 7th. It was an awful performance, like legit, arguably one of the worst 3 games of the year. It's been a long time since I turned an Orioles game off in the 4th inning, and this game was off way before that. It was really bad.
What'd you put on?
I put on the Eagles game because I had the Titans on TV1. Because when I got back from my Pokemon
what a tough
hunt
night for you.
Yeah, it's not great. I went to I took Joe to the park. She wanted to go Pokemon hunting. I got eaten alive by the mosquitoes, so that's great. And then I come home and the Orioles are already down 1-0. And then so they were regulated to TV2. And then I got the Titans on this TV, and now I got the Eagles on both. So, it's been great. But yeah, I mean, the Orioles have to win these next 2. Again, we're kind of, the heartbeat is there. It's not great. We're not the queen, but we're not,
Ooh.
It's getting there. RIP Lizzie in a box. You didn't hear that soccer chant they were doing? They were doing something like in a box. It was a good chant. And then people turned it into Lizzie's in a box. This guy's having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you said last week.
Just guys being dudes.
Yeah.
Chant about a dead monarch.
What's better than that? It's getting late early, and they're inching along. Again, they're only a half game above the White Sox right now. So 76 and 70. I think now everyone is kind of like, just get to 82 wins, like finish above 500. And again, we'll just be happy with the season. So it's they have not played great baseball. I think I saw 5-9 since they were 10 games over 500. So they're not playing great right now. Just not hitting, 0 offense.
It feels like they're still not out of it. Obviously, it just feels like they're running out of gas. That, this was a really nice story, and it will be a memorable season. Hopefully, like the foundation of many memorable seasons to come. We're like, remember 2022? That was so fun, and that was the start. And then we wanted this memorable, decade run of great moments and all those things. But it just feels like this team specifically has just kind of run out of, I don't think magic, because I don't think this was like fluky. I think guys played well, but they just didn't have maybe the horses to get all the way to the end, which is fine. Like we've been saying this for 3 or 4 weeks. That was fine if that was going to happen. But as you said, you hope that it's not like a collapse down the stretch. Like this isn't the, they bounce back. Maybe they win the next 2 here and kind of make it interesting again. It just doesn't seem like they're in a position right now. And I feel like I sound like a broken record, and maybe I say I sound like a broken record every week, but that they're going to, have the ability to kind of jump back in with 3 teams that I think at this point are just showing a little more, although, the Mariners and the Rays have given the Orioles a chance. They're both under 500 in their last 10 games. So the Orioles had a shot here had they been able to, match up with like a 7-3 or an 8-2 or whatever, but has not happened.
Yeah. And again, I mean, no one is like, I mean, you can be disappointed, but again, this is a team that we thought would win 60 games. Like just the fact that we're we're going into week 3 of the NFL season and it's like, hey, they're still alive. Like this is still a thing. Is like, all right, again, if you don't have hope for the future, I don't know what to tell you, because I was thinking about it today. Like there are teams who would kill to have one top prospect come up and perform. The Orioles, I mean, Adley and Gunnar, you cannot ask for, better. Adley has been everything that we've been promised this year. He's been great. And again, it's like, oh, and then you add on Gunnar. Plus, again, a guy like DL Hall who has struggled, when he came up. But again, like there's still guys, Colton Cowser, like Connor Norby got promoted to AAA today. Like there are guys. Grayson still has a chance. I think we may see Grayson down the stretch. I think that would be awesome. Get him a couple starts and, get him acquainted for next year. There's just so much to look forward to. Like we talked about, like the Orioles are going to spend this offseason, and that's going to be the exciting part too, is like if they add a Jock Peterson, people's tossing around Trey Turner. I don't think that's a name I would love it. I don't think it's going to happen, but exciting times are coming. And again, like, yes, it's okay to be disappointed with their play and their offense the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, but it's like, listen, this, like you said, this year has been fun. It's been exciting to see these guys come up and perform. And again, it was definitely a memorable season. And I just hope next year, again, that they kind of take this momentum and ride with it. You talked about it before. You don't want to see them lose 15 to their last 18 and struggle to get to the finish line, which I don't think they'll do. But, it's a long season, and yeah, it kind of seems like they're sputtering right now, but sorry.
Banks, any thoughts on the Birds?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. They expended a lot of energy just to try to get to this point, and there's been a lot of enthusiasm and excitement surrounding it. But it just seems like they're running out of gas. You said it wasn't fluky, and I think that's absolutely right. But I do think there's almost like a pressure, like a subtle pressure that exists when you're kind of playing in a way that feels like, because of other people's expectations, that you're playing over your head, where you're kind of just like trying to get it to the finish line, and that in itself feels like an exhausting task. And I mean, they were 10 games under 500 at one point, weren't they? I mean, just takes a tremendous amount of energy just to get to where they did, to be 10 games over 500. And at that point, I mean, there's just ebbs and flows that come with the baseball season. And clearly that 20 game swing that I just mentioned is a huge ebb, upwards, and you were bound to have, a downswing at some point. And we're just kind of catching it here down the stretch, and the optics of it make it, look as though they just didn't have what it took. So it's one way to look at it. All in all, I think we're going to look at this in 2 or 3 weeks and be pretty proud of the season that we had, and hopefully they can pin a big number on the board there, just to kind of hang their hat on, and so they can point to and say, hey, we got to 85 or we got to 82 or whatever it might be. But that's yet to be seen. They're a day or two away from me calling it. I think anybody who has called it isn't necessarily out of line. But we'll see.
As someone that called it last night.
Yeah.
Probably prematurely. I mean, I think this Tiger series was the one where, as you said, Eric, like this is the one where you could get, you sweep them and then you're there. And it's just kind of a devastating one to get blown out in.
Yeah, like if they would have lost 7-6 and it's like, the offense just didn't come through. But again, I mean, they got punched in the mouth right away. And it's just, again, a Tigers team that is 56-91 with a minus 162 run differential. Like that, I mean,
that's bad.
Yep. It's not great. But again, like I'm still I think that the Astros series, I'm expecting a big crowd. I'm going Thursday. That's, obviously Trey comes back. And then it's kind of it's the last weekend home series of the year. So like, I'm hoping for big crowds. Cause again, it's like, get out there, show the guy, show them that, you appreciate what they did this year and enjoy one nice last weekend at the ballpark and, maybe see some wins. That would be fun. Beating the Astros again. So, get out to the ballpark. But again, I don't think if you paid for your playoff tickets, I think that money's getting rolled over to your season tickets next year. But I like where your head's at, but it's not happening.
Plan to pay that money next year. I think that next year is going to be very, very fun.
Opening day is going to be fun.
Yeah, opening day is going to be great. As you said, the spending of money in the offseason. Every time we've talked about that, kind of hinted at that, since they really started making this run and it's looked like kind of the foundation's there, it just gets me excited to get the alert that the Orioles have thrown down a bunch of money on somebody. It will make me feel something. It will make me really feel something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I was thinking, so I was looking at this today because the Tigers got hot last year at the end, kind of the second half of the year. And it was oh, this is a team. They have a top farm system. They're going to spend money in the offseason. They finished 77 and 85, I think. And people were watch out for them next year. And then they just completely nosedived after they spent, I think it was $260 million in the offseason or something.
Well, them and the Rangers are the two teams that spent a lot of money and have
$600 million. And they're awful too. So my thinking, and I didn't know how to word it on Twitter because I ain't no good with words. And I was just I hope that the Orioles don't fall into not saying that there's any sign that they will, but I hope they don't kind of pull a Tigers next year where it's again,
it doesn't feel like,
I don't think it does either, but
it doesn't feel like they're going to splash the cash on 5 guys.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe they deal, we talked about this, trade for pitchers, sign hitters or whatever, Elias's thought is. It feels like they try to plug maybe one clear hole where maybe a guy in the farm system just isn't really there yet. You talked about Jock Peterson, maybe it's somebody like that. And then maybe you package some prospects to get a pitcher. I mean, they need starting pitching. This has been super fun the way they've kind of pieced this together. This is not a sustainable model, I don't think, unless they have figured out something analytically with pitching that no one else is doing, which maybe they are. But I think you have to get it to win a World Series. You have to have a top arm at the front of your rotation. I mean, then we just see this every year. Yep. So that it would just be interesting to see how they allocate the resources. But Michael Elias doesn't seem like I think he's going to be willing to spend money, but doesn't seem like go on a freaking spending spree, throw everyone a big contract and lock yourself into a certain group of players, as opposed to piecing together one and then rolling over to next year so you can get her, so you can trade for or whatever it may be. I also don't think financially the Orioles can just afford to just spend a lot of money. I don't think they're even there. They're going to have money to spend because they don't have a lot of money on the payroll, but they're not going to raise the payroll an insane amount because they just don't. I mean, the Orioles operate as a small market team, essentially. Mm-hmm. Despite, 20 years ago having the highest payroll in baseball at one point, 25 years ago, whatever it was. But at this point, you would put the Orioles as well, one of the lower 10 small markets. I mean, they're not above they're not with the Oakland A's tier probably.
Yeah.
But what tier are we in at this point? They're obviously not with the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers type of tier. They're not even with the Braves, somebody like that, or the Cardinals or the Rangers. So that's also
the Twins. I feel like the Twins is just the nice, right about the level of which.
Yeah,
the Twins used to be more small market when they moved to Target Field.
Here, let's we'll end the baseball exercise on this.
A little bigger.
I'll play a little fun game I just made up. You guys tell me what, if I'm going to name a team, you say bigger market or smaller market team than the Orioles in terms of money. Dodgers.
Bigger.
Astros.
Bigger.
Mets.
Bigger.
Braves.
Bigger.
Yankees.
Bigger.
Cardinals.
Bigger.
Blue Jays.
Bigger.
Rays.
Smaller.
Well, just shows you how amazing
potential. Or
I'm talking about right now.
That's what I was is this a trick question?
Yeah.
They're smaller. They're definitely smaller. Mariners.
Neck and neck.
Yeah.
I think they're bigger. The Mariners spend money.
Northeast. Well, they also have the north. They're the whole north or north.
Yeah.
Padres.
Bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
At least the way they spend. Phillies big. I'm just gonna say, okay, Phillies. Bigger. This went longer than I thought I was going to. Guardians. That feels like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Can I give you the teams now that I roll it through? Because they're all next to each other. Guardians, Brewers, feels like in the same tier. Twins. Those 3 teams feel like they're in the same tier. Diamondbacks, maybe too.
Mm-hmm.
They could, but they're doing a rebuild thing. I mean,
yeah. But I'm saying, yeah. But the Guardians, Brewers, and Twins
if they came to
all. Yeah, I agree with you. And then it's like you have like the Pirates are probably there with the Orioles as well. But it's just kind of interesting. Like there's not that many teams, and the Nats are. I think I've proven to spend more than the Orioles, whether they backloaded all 10 years. Now no one wants to sign with them. So sorry to the Lerner family.
Hey, well, they better pick it up, or they may get the boot from their stadium.
I will be very interested to see if Ted Leonsis and that family buys the Nationals, where they go in terms of how they operate as a baseball team, because the Leonsis have clearly done a great job with the Caps. They won a Stanley Cup competitor for a long time. They have not figured out how to get the Wizards right. Just have not gotten it there for the most part. They've, there's been some, nice moments, I guess.
Well, I'd be interested
I'd be interested to see how like they would look at the Nationals in terms of like, they're obviously super smart. Like they do, with Monumental Sports, they're like trying a lot of things, they have their hands in a lot of hats, like esports and all these different things. I would just be interested to see how they went about the Nationals. Would they go like heavy spend? Would they go to a more like raise type of situation where the Orioles, are they really building through the farm system? I don't know. Because the national sale, I think, is going to be an interesting part of the offseason. I think like it's a local team. It's going to be interesting, like who goes in there and buys that team. If it's a really known quantity, like the Lentis family or somebody else. So that'll be some offseason fodder for us. Baltimore Ravens. I mean, as I said, Instant Analysis Podcast Sunday was emotional. It was raw. It was painful. But I don't think anything we said in the moment, listening back to it, was really all that off. I woke up this morning and still felt absolutely disgusted by everything that happened Sunday. And my biggest point that I think I made towards the end that I would bring up here that to get a little more run is I think this running back situation is a really big problem at this point. Like I think that Lamar Jackson cannot be anchoring your running game week in and week out. And I think they really need a healthy J.K. Dobbins ASAP. But obviously the secondary is the biggest problem on the team right now. And Josh Allen in a couple weeks is going to be not fun to watch against the Ravens if that continues. So Banks, you had some time to reflect. You did not go Dexter Giff. You said it's too early to do that type of shenanigans. But what do you reflect on from yesterday? Do you think you got anything wrong in the moment? Do you think you should have accentuated more points? What is your just kind of thought 24 hours? We really never done like 24 hours after the instant analysis. Normally we have a couple days more to process. What are your thoughts?
I'll say that I did not listen back to what we all said yesterday. I just kind of rolled with it, and I was kind of in a blind rage. So I can't even tell you per se what I said. I just knew I was frustrated, and I knew I was just going through the box score, going through the team stats, and just reeling off all the frustrating elements of what happened and what, our simple goals were for that football game, and then what they should have become even more so when they became a situational football, type of thing. And just let those guys behind you is just like, again, unacceptable in every way imaginable. But it's early. There are teams trying to figure things out all over the league. Every single year you see good football teams get embarrassed on television. And I tried to also compare it to, tonight. Titans, you say they're bad. They're probably bad, but they might not be. The Vikings right now are getting embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how good they are, but they just beat the Packers last week. I mean, it's the NFL. Teams are gonna, worse teams are gonna beat better teams, and teams are gonna have bad days and good days. It's tougher when it happens early in the season because you just don't have enough of a sample size to say, hey, this is who a team is. And of course, we hope that's, what we saw in a mere 14, 15 minutes there. We hope that's not who the Ravens are, because the rest of the 45 minutes were awesome. They were really awesome. And I think the best drive that the Ravens have had in like the last 2 years was that first offensive drive of yesterday's game where they went 18 plays, almost 11 minutes, and they thought they were in the end zone and they weren't. And then they just fumbled the snap away. This is such like a results-based league and such a what have you done for me lately type of thing that you can get blinded and forget all the things that really are like the things that define who you are and what's sustainable over the course of a season. And to know that the Ravens have these explosive plays in the bag. 2 long touchdowns to Bateman so far in 2 weeks. Lamar Jackson to the house yesterday, among other big time plays that they've had. They have that in the bag, and they've got that type of 18 play, 11-minute drive in the bag as well. That's a really encouraging sign. And so I'm trying to look at those things and look at what we did wrong defensively and just be like, well, that fucking sucked. That's something we got to address, but it's addressable. It's potentially fixable. I'm trying to look at it from that light. I'm also was trying to compare, would we have rather lost that game yesterday the way that we did, or lay a complete egg like we did last year against the Dolphins, where you're like, wow, like this looks like the type of thing that is going to, show other teams how to defend us and how to beat us. I thought that the way that Greg Roman, Lamar Jackson, and all those guys on the offensive side of the ball were the way that they looked at the tape and worked on what went wrong last year and came into yesterday's game with a plan and the pass protection, the audibles at the line of scrimmage, the blitz pickups, all those things were like a masterpiece from the offense. And just knowing that they have that ability to kind of adapt and look at the tape and kind of, form an identity and come up with a game plan on a given Sunday against a given team. I think that's a really encouraging sign too. So I'm looking at all these things and looking at all these positives and taking it for what it is. We're 1-1. We probably expected to be 2-0 to start the season. But things go sideways sometimes, and there's probably going to be a game against a good football team that we probably don't deserve to win, that we're going to steal off a team later this year that's going to even this out. That's just the way football goes. That's sports. We play the games for a reason. So a lot of football left. This is 2 out of 17 games. It's not a sinking ship. Everybody just needs to take a step back. We can acknowledge that there are things that need to be fixed, need to be addressed, while also knowing that this is still a good football team that's going to do a lot of good things this year.
RDT?
Yeah, I mean, and Taylor, you spoke on it yesterday, or no, Brian, you did, where how I'm like, the problems that the Ravens have are fixable. Like the stuff in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, is definitely fixable. And Taylor, you're talking about the running game. Like, yeah, it's bad right now. What is the stat that Lamar had more yards on the one run than the running backs do all year combined?
Yeah, the running backs have
76 yards, I think.
the Ravens running backs have the least rushing yards in the league among running back group.
And like you said, I mean, J.K. Dobbins is going to play, you would think, what, in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe, you would assume.
It'd be a little stunning if he didn't play this week at this point. It feels like you're a full participant. He wasn't a full participant all 3 days last week. Am I making that up?
And it's like, if he's not going to
We're limited one day and then went, yeah.
If he's not going to play in the first 4, why not pup him? Like, just keep him out. That I don't understand. But again, like that, you would think that he's going to play sometime soon. And it's like, I guess you can't really put all your eggs in his basket right now because we don't know what he's going to be. I mean, he's coming off a major knee injury, but you would think he's an upgrade over what the Ravens have right now. And then again, eventually when the weather starts to turn, Gus Edwards is going to be back. Like, he'll be back soon. And I don't think, did Nick Boyle was he inactive yesterday?
Yeah, he was inactive.
And again, it's like,
that's a weird one.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? Because again, if you get all 3 of those guys back, and then it's like, okay, now this is kind of the offense that Harbaugh and Roman thought they were going to have. And it's like, you can run your plays through that. But I think the running game will get better. Again, I don't know how many people are scared of Kenyon Drake and Mike Davis, but I think JK puts a little, that kind of scares some defensive coordinators. So those are easily fixable, not easily fixable, but I think fixable. The defensive backfield, I think, again, communication stuff with, a free agent signing and a couple rookies, like that stuff is going to happen, I think. Again, I think they're fixable problems that, like you said, and I saw a couple of people mention it today, like this could be the 2019 Browns game. It's like, you know what? It sucks. Flush it and you move on.
The only difference between these 2 games is, like, in that game, that was the egg lay to a certain extent. The Browns
was much more of an egg lay. There were communication issues in that game, though. That
correct.
Were like,
the issues.
What are we doing?
Correct. Yeah. This was one of the more like violent swings of emotion I can remember in a Ravens regular season game, in terms of like at the end of the third quarter thinking, I mean, this is the squad. Like, defense has played well enough against two really good receivers with a bunch of guys out, but this is like a Ravens performance, play like a Ravens, step up, guys stepped up enough. We're good. Lamar Jackson, virtuoso running, throwing, throwing out like all of the Twitter, like Lamar Jackson discussion. It was just like the 2 years ago, just everyone's loving Lamar and it's just fun to watch, and Rashad Bateman and all that stuff. And that looks like it's great. Mark Andrews is cooking, blah, 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 blah. To then just have the horror show of a secondary problem that happened all of last year happen again. I saw a tweet today that showed like all of the 400-yard passers that the Ravens had given up, and the list is just like not a list of standouts. It's like Carson Wentz and Tua, and who knows, maybe this will
Derek Anderson, maybe.
Yeah, maybe this will be the Tua breakout game where he now just goes on to the career that many expected him to have. I hope that's the case for the sake of a family that is giving a lot to my alma mater right now. But that was the worst part, was just seeing the exact same thing where every time he dropped back, it was like, well, the Ravens have no chance to stop this. And as you said already, a lot of rookies having to play a part in the back part of that, in the defensive backfield. And you're going to have communication problems, and you're going to have breakdowns and all of those different things. And I think you're right, Banks. This could just clearly be an anomaly to an offensive performance that, while even missing guys, put together some tremendous drives, sustained drives, hit for big plays. Like did both of the things you kind of want to see your offense do, that versatility of being able to score. Another Devin Duvernay situation where he like makes a play in a game, whatever he's in, like that would have been a talking point we would have had yesterday. Like there's Devin Duvernay again, like setting the tone, or Devin Duvernay just pops up when you need him to pop up. Like he just has become such kind of an interesting player, and all the facets he can fill. So I think that was like the biggest part of yesterday, was just being in such a sort of euphoric mood. And really everybody, like I was out, at the bars in Fed Hill, and people were just so happy. Like, we were watching Lamar make that run. Everyone's like, I mean, this is the Ravens. We're just running this team down. And rarely have you ever seen the Ravens like give up games like that. Like the Ravens have laid eggs before and given up games before, for sure, but never like that not many like that at home, where it was just came apart so quickly. And they could easily right the ship. I mean, they could go and play this Patriots team and blow this Patriots team out. That is on the table this week. And if that happens, that will take a lot of the sting away. A hated team, blah, 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 blah. And they don't need to blow them out. They can win, but a win is a win. A win is a win is a win, as we say. And maybe the thought is that a loss is a loss and a loss. And it's week 2. And as you said, Banks, this could have been a 20-point blowout win for the Dolphins the other way. And everyone's like freaks out. And then they come back out and do what they do to the Patriots. It doesn't matter. But they got to figure this secondary situation out. And hopefully it's the return of guys this week. And you're certainly not dealing with the weapons you were dealing with against the Dolphins, against the New England Patriots. So
what year was that rainstorm Patriots game? Was that 2020 or was that last year? It was
2020. It was 2020.
I just remember the driving rain and like that was awful.
Ridiculous.
Monday night, Sunday night, Monday night.
Sunday night. It was the Ball Masters ended.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
Yep. That was not a fun one. That was just one where you throw up your hands and you're just like, well, shit. Like, what are we gonna do about that one? Like,
you like couldn't see at times.
Which is what happened with the Patriots and the Bills last season. In that game where Mac Jones threw like twice the entire game. But good time to pivot into the Patriots here. I think we're going to do exactly what you just described, Taylor. I think we're going to absolutely dick stomp the New England Patriots. I think this is going to be a 3+ score win, maybe more. That team stinks. I've seen enough to know that they stink. They beat the Steelers, who also stink. They can't do anything offensively. We just need to have some moderate level of success this week against Patriots offensively, and I think from there it's just going to take care of itself. That's the whole fingers crossed situation where you're like, well, hopefully we don't find a way to turn Mac Jones into Brett Favre in the fourth quarter, but we'll see. Feel good about this week. I think -3 is free money. I'm not supposed to say that, I guess, but bet responsibly.
Pay attention to the meetings.
42.5, I think, is the over under. I think that's going to get smashed as well. So there's some sharp money out there, I'll say.
I don't know how Mac Jones played quarterback at Alabama. I am like struggling to figure out how he got a Scott. I think
See the
he is,
receivers,
I
Jalen
think
Waddle.
he's off. Like I just think he is so bad. I think he is terrible. And again, I think this is an easy Ravens win. Like I'm talking like 35-10, like something like that, where it's like, oh yeah. And it's just an ass kicking of Belichick. I don't know. Nothing about the Patriots this year, even last year, like nothing about them. Nothing jumps off the page where you're like, oh, okay. Like, I don't think their wide receivers are good. I don't think they have decent tight ends, but it's like how do they scare you on offense? And they don't really have many game changing defensive players. I don't know. I don't see this. And again, the Ravens are usually pretty good at bouncing back after a loss when they don't have 80 other guys on IR like they did the last half of last year. I think this is again just like a prime Belichick ass kicking, like Harbaugh kind of chopping it up on the sidelines, and people go nuts because again, I mean, any win in New England is a decent sized win. So and then you're kind of looking forward to the Bills, but again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I mean, John Harbaugh is normally very good in this spot. Like one of the things I think that keeps him on the sidelines for year after year is how his team's culture handles adversity, right? Like so many times we see them bounce back from whatever it is, losses, dysfunction, injuries. And it's why, down towards the end when they had no players left and they had a chance to make the playoffs, he was an NFL Coach of the Year candidate because he does an amazing job of keeping his teams invested, and they do a great job from a leadership perspective, clearly, of doing that year after year. It's what makes the Ravens such an amazing organization. And I would agree with both of you. I think this will be a game where they say, look, we had some circumstantial issues that got away from us. Sometimes you're like, think you're winning, and the game is just gone. You're like, wait, what just happened? I think they will come out this weekend and play really, really well. The Patriots, as you said, RDT, Mac Jones is just, and this is, it's funny. It's what I thought about Tua going into this week, and then he proved me wrong at the end. It's one of those quarterbacks where you're like, if you just get ahead of them, they can't beat you because they don't have the tools to come back. Now, obviously, what Tua has that Mac Jones doesn't have is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and there's just nobody that they have skill position wise that scares you at all. Jacoby Myers is okay. Devontae Parker's been on a guy that's been on 600 fantasy teams, and you're like, oh, I'll get Devontae Parker in like the 14th round, and he'll pop off for me at some point and figure it out. Never really has. And their running backs aren't that in, like Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. They're fine, but you don't scare these guys.
Yeah, they're not gonna rip one off.
I think that the Patriots, in their just inability to want to go get quality skill position players, have totally handicapped Mac Jones. He's a guy that needs, since he's not Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's going to need sensational skill position players, I think, to like elevate past what he did last year as a rookie. Otherwise, I think that's just going to be his ceiling. He's just going to do this every year where he's fine. He'll throw 22 TD or 23 TDs, throw 12 or 13 picks, and kind of hope keep you in some games if you have a good defense. That's
300 yards.
Kind of what he did last year. Like that just feels like the ceiling unless they really invest in skill position players, which they don't seem to want to. So I don't, I agree with you, Banks. Don't bet on it. Hashtag NCAA. Don't bet on it. But there's some things out there.
Yeah, I think I think they're right for the picking. So everything you said about John Harbaugh is exactly right. They're going to have their guys prepared. I'm surprised there hasn't been more belly aching over Wink Martindale and Mike McDonald. I was surprised there wasn't as much discussion. Not that there wasn't any, but I was surprised that there weren't a ton of people just like trying for Wink Martindale, which I'm a huge advocate of that guy, but just because that seems to be what happens when things go sideways.
Easy thing to do.
That would have seemed for easy, low hanging fruit for people to complain about.
I don't think enough people know enough about McDonald yet to get outraged, if that makes sense. Like, I think as
fair.
an assistant, you almost have to exist in the lexicon of the team for more than like, he's now been, this is his second week and I know he was an assistant coach before here, but I think you have to just kind of be around and have multiple times where it's like, oh, this is why I think this is the Greg Roman thing. This is like, everyone just gets upset about Greg Roman. I think you have to be around a little bit longer than he's been around, in my opinion, to get that kind of vitriol from the fan base.
Not from Rex Ryan, who did you see him on Get Up this morning? Those quotes?
Did see that.
Ryan, you saw those, right?
Say that again.
Rex Ryan on Ravens lackluster defensive performance. They don't know what the hell they're doing. This new hotshot coordinator is terrible.
Saw a little bit about that.
Yeah, and then Harbaugh kind of went back at him and said there's a reason he's not, there's a reason he's not a coach anymore, and blah blah blah. And then Rex Ryan again. These aren't your daddy's Baltimore Ravens. They don't close out games anymore. Maybe, I'm sure some of that is some ill will.
Par for the course for Rex.
Yeah,
that's who Rex is,
Yep.
And I still like Rex Ryan. He's going to say those things for better or worse. He's going to beat us when we're down. He's going to praise us when we're up. He's going to say some things that are, just wrong, because he was talking about Marlon Humphrey playing poorly and letting these things happen in the fourth quarter. He wasn't even in the game. Yeah, he's going to put his foot in his mouth. No pun intended. But yeah, those things happen. That's who Rex is. I know.
Rex is a talking head at this point. I mean that, and if you're him, you have to say things about the Ravens because you have so much credibility to talk about that team specifically. Like, he is gonna get clicks if he's gonna get on TV for the Ravens, the Jets, and the Bills. That gets him on TV because he coached those teams and he ratchet up tension in those fan bases. Yeah, whatever, Rex Ryan. Good comeback by Harbaugh, though. Love that. Really kind of under the radar. Subtweeted him. Good stuff from old Johnny Harbs. I loved that. There's a reason they're not coaching. So good. Just go get them. Amazing too, because it's a weird situation because it felt like Rex Ryan, the Ryan family, that whole thing is just weird. It feels like that, he would be like, Harbaugh, figure it out, blah, 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 blah. But, once you get on TV and you start getting paid, we know how it is. Once you get on podcasts, you start, not getting paid. You just start pouting off and spouting off about things. So.
You think there's some like James Franklin kind of like chip on his shoulder, like not, never being the guy in Baltimore?
I think so. I think there's
100% think so.
100% I think that's true.
He'll drive that in.
That doesn't sound like Rex Ryan.
Well, I know that it doesn't, that's not his kind of attitude, but because again, I'm sure when he saw, when he was watching the game, he probably knew exactly what he was going to say. And I'm going to have this cheap shot and this and that. Also, this may not shock you, but Kirk Cousins put in a terrible performance on Monday night, which again, doesn't sound like him, but has nothing to do with this podcast. I just thought I would mention that.
Game's not over.
No, it's over.
No game's over in my eyes anymore.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay. You're right.
Well, let's jump into predictions here. Thanks. Patriots, Ravens.
Man, Eric pretty much was almost head on my what I had in my brain. 38-10 Ravens.
I'm sticking with 35-10.
I will say 31-13. 31-13 Ravens.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I saw fans just roasting Marlon Humphrey for his comment after the game. Is that a thing that, well, I know like you guys don't eat the trash too much or at all. I don't know. You saw what he said where he said, yeah, it sucks that we lost, but the whole division lost, so it doesn't really matter or something like that.
That was like on Twitter at like midnight. It wasn't even like, yeah.
The comments and the quotes.
He's absolutely right. Like, it does feel a little less bad when everybody else loses. Yeah, it does feel a little better.
It makes me feel slightly better that everyone in the division lost today, but still. And everyone is just roasting him.
Like, it was nice to see the Bengals lose that game in Dallas. That made me feel a little better. Anybody who doesn't agree with that has got their head up their ass.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it also just feels good. It feels good both from a rivalry standpoint and because, I know it's
It
early in the
literally
season, but
matters.
you don't want to give games away. It matters. Stuff matters. Those teams losing
Yeah,
matters.
it's a
Like
missed opportunity if you look at it another way, but it is what it is.
every week, if you don't care that those teams lost, at least as a fan too, like you should care those teams lost.
Scoreboard
That's-
watching. It has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, it's never too early. If the season were to end today, the Ravens would be in the playoffs and they'd be playing the Jaguars in round one.
Yeah, God
So-
damn it. God damn it.
An absolute it's never too early situation. Ravens and Patriots on Fox on
that's
Sunday.
gross.
Fox
That's
bought the game.
gross.
Very weird. Now, obviously the NFL's TV situation is different, so it's not this like huge split with the conference. I can't speak. So with the conferences in terms of how they do that stuff. I'm trying to find Fox Sports announcers for CBS put theirs out today. I don't see Fox's. I looked at their PR situation, but I don't know.
Ooh, I hope we get Olsen.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah,
It would, be,
that'd
it,
be
would,
fun.
it would be neat to hear Olsen just talk about Andrews.
But Olsen's on the top crew now. So
Yeah, I guess the Aikman shuffle, the Buck and Aikman
yeah,
shuffle.
he's with or Kevin Burkhardt. I can't remember how they have it split now.
I'm so confused on who's calling what game where on what streaming platform, and if I have to log in for
What'd
it.
you think about Orlovsky, Louis
I-
Riddick, and Steve Levy tonight?
I thought Orlovsky was horrible. Like I muted it. I muted
he
it.
seemed to
seconds into
struggle.
watching.
I think Louis Riddick is really good, and he just can't find the right partner to elevate him to be on huge games all the time. I think he explains the game really well.
Mhm.
I don't know what other people think about him.
I think him and Levy are fine. And then when I was tuning in and I heard, I was like, who is this third voice? And I texted my buddy and he was like, I think it's Orlovsky. And I was like, God damn it. This is going to be just awful. And again,
So Fox has Packers Buccaneers. So that's going to be their best. That's going to be their top crew. I would assume Ravens Patriots will get the second crew though. Rams Cardinals maybe, but that's on at the same time as Packers Bucks. I wouldn't think they double dip it. I would think
Eagles, Commanders. Those are mainstay franchises that they like.
Fox has 3 out of the 4 games at 4:00. I don't understand how they determine this stuff sometimes.
I don't understand what's happening or what game I'm going to. Well, I'm
You
going
get
to
the President's Cup going on at the same time, so I don't know if there's some
But that's
sort of
NBC.
thing going on with that.
I think the
know,
President's
and
Cup is
that's the
NBC.
night. It is NBC. So
49ers Broncos is not a good Sunday night football game. Ooh, baby. This is not a great slate. I'll be honest. I guess America's game of the week on Fox is going to be Packers Bucks. I mean, that's a good game. Brady.
Yeah, it's
Dolphins Bills. I mean, Dolphins Bills at 1:00. CBS would love to flex that to 4. I'm sure if they could. It's a good game. But Texans Bears. Ooh, wow. At Soldier Field. Bears did not look good yesterday. Steelers Browns though on Thursday night on Prime Video.
Oh, that's
Did you
just
see?
Thursday?
Despite the fact
Yeah.
that people like URDT that can't function technology, they had the most signups in Prime history on last Thursday, more than any other of their discount days. Unbelievable job by Amazon.
Of course, there was going to be that, but
Bezos.
just don't. I don't know if it was my internet or what, but the quality was not good for the first half. The game was fine. I mean, the game was good, but I'm just any additional buttons that my old ass has to press to find the game is just not great.
Yeah, it's fair. What are your guys' thoughts on? We'll move to the draft. What are your guys' thoughts on Collinsworth and Herb Street, or Collinsworth? Jesus, Al Michaels and Herb Street.
Good, really good.
Herb Street. I think
good.
Herb Street could call a game with me and be incredible.
Yeah,
he
same thing
just
with Al.
naturally gets with everybody and is so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's the least shocking news of all time that Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels are really good together.
Yeah, exactly.
And it sucks because realistically, how many more years do we have left with Al Michaels? Not that many.
I think it's got to be under. He's 75, maybe.
So you got to think this is his last deal.
He's 77.
Jesus.
He's 77. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do that around 80 years old. I cannot imagine he's doing more than. If he's still doing games by 2025, I think that would be pretty shy. He's now also out of the Super Bowl rotation It's like really, I think he kind of kicks this off, and then Amazon finds someone to slot in after kind of like he's a guy a voice you put on for legitimacy. Everyone turns on the broadcast. The legitimacy is there. I mean, they have a great crew in terms of legitimacy. Like everyone hears Herb Street voice. Everyone loves Herb Street. Same with Al Michaels. Everyone doesn't love Al Michaels, but his voice is synonymous with big things. And then you find the next person to fill that in.
Yeah. They'll throw like McAfee or someone.
They should get Kevin Harlan. That's what they should do.
Yeah. Well, Harlan
that comes up.
He's so good at everything.
Yeah. Starting five draft presented by Fed Thrill. You can use the promo code X52 to get 20% off your Fed Thrill sunglasses. Saw some Fed Thrill sunglasses on out of the tailgates on Sunday. So nice to see that. Good job by Fed Thrill. This is a draft we've talked about for a while, and we did throw it together a bit last minute. So I'm interested to see where it goes. But things you want in a bar, and by that I mean like things you want, not like stocked in a bar necessarily, just with that, but like the good qualities of a bar. What makes a bar have good qualities? I have the first pick in this draft, and this is a topic I think we've discussed on and off on the pod about local places, whatever.
Text chains, now it's always popping off.
Banks, yeah. Banks and I, when we sit and talk about it at the establishments around here, when we're out. So a natural draft. I have the first pick. Banks has the second pick. RDT, you have the third pick. And what's interesting is I think this could go a variety of ways. Like there's some really like niche-y things that I think some of us will want, and like some very general things. I think this is once again another draft like a few weeks ago when I took a stand about social media sports. I think I have to take another stand at the top of the draft, which will probably knock some better things down to you guys that are probably higher on the board. But I'm taking good TV management. I have to have it. I can't let it slip past me. And it is the thing that triggers me maybe more than it might be Mike Trout and good TV management are the top two things that trigger me in my entire life, which come to think of it is probably like a good thing. It probably means I'm leading a pretty like happy and stress-free to a certain extent life with not a lot of bad things happening. But I just will never understand how bars cannot make sure that TVs have the right things distributed on them or are turning away from channels when things end. It baffles me. It should not be hard. You can set timers. You can just grab a remote for literally 30 seconds and change the channel. You should just have a schedule up that shows all your bartenders, even if they follow sports or follow events or don't follow events, where they just look and they say, okay, once this ends at 4:30, I just change the TV to this. Just shouldn't be hard. And yet time after time after time, bars mess this up. The amount of like dumb TNT reruns that bars have on after NBA games to me, and now with the NHL on there too, we are subjected to that, is insane. The amount of times Wayward keeps Caps post game on for 4 hours is insane to me. Just turn to anything else. I just will never forget looking around and watching. Not that I love the Caps post game. Those guys do a very good job, guys and gals. But my Lord, just turn to anything. It's just bad. I have to give props to Delia Foley's a couple weeks ago, who during a Baltimore Orioles playoff chase and the Tiapo match had the TVs perfectly distributed with both of them on, where everyone could see both of them. Tremendous job by them. They don't always do it well. There is no bar in the city that does it very well, to be honest, all the time, but they do it very well. So shout out to them. Looney's in College Park does it extremely well. Shout out to them. They are a bar. They also have 60 TVs, so it helps them, but they distribute the programming very well. But yeah, that is my pet peeve. We've talked about like whether there should be an app where you vote on, you get like power, like it's a touch tunes and you change TVs based on like how the people feel. But I have to take that number one. It is my biggest pet peeve about bars. So is the thing I want in a bar, TV management.
Well said, and it was your rant to give. It would have been disappointing if you didn't take that. So
I
just
felt
kind of let you
dishonest
have
if
it.
either of us took it too, I think.
I don't really know that I have much more to add. I think you've summed it up very well.
And thankfully, we will continue to add, because I'm sure it will be talked about again on this show. Or I'll tweet about it. Or Black will film a video of me ranting about it at a bar and then put it out on Twitter.
I probably will.
Wasn't there a
We'll probably out
screensaver
some
on
4 bar.
like 2 weeks ago? Wasn't there a screensaver on at a bar?
I feel like there was. Oh
Yes,
I think that
man,
was
who
in the group
sent
chat.
that? Yeah, somebody sent that. Yeah,
I
yeah, I
may
was
have
triggered by
been
that.
I may have been out of town or something, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta share
I
this."
also think that things like Chive TV and all of that, like
Oh,
you're just such a sellout. Like,
Oh man,
like
it
I
wasn't on
have
my
to shout out
board,
too.
but
I
like,
don't mean I feel comfortable calling out these establishments in federal because I'm giving all of them my money. So it's not as if this is making me not come to your place. But the fact that Banditos has a Chive TV in the back corner is so ridiculous. And then Wayward in the back bar had a TV that was playing some like I couldn't even figure out what it was. It almost looked like they were streaming a show like on Prime Video. And it was just one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I don't know what they were doing. It didn't look like one of those things where you have a deal and you have to keep it on, like Chive definitely is. But I kept looking over that. I was like, what are they doing? Every other TV's on the Ravens game. Great. Good job by them. But like, there's one other TV that's just, I don't know. It just boggles my mind that no one's like, look, unless there's a deal. I would love to know. I know we know people through people at these places. I would love to just have a conversation with someone that manages one of these bars and be like, so how do you guys figure it out? Or is there any method to the madness?
great question. But the bar was, and I'm just gonna be shameless about outing them. It was Blue Agave. Had a screensaver on one TV, and it had some sort of hunting, fishing programming.
Bill
And
Dance.
this is at maybe this is at like 6 o'clock on Saturday before I want to say it was one of the Ravens preseason games. If it wasn't a preseason game, it may have been before an Orioles game or something where it was, I think it was college football week 0, where there was a couple games on and it's like, hey, you got to get something else on here. Or the Orioles, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, this is not, you know, the dead of summer with nothing on. There's stuff you could definitely be putting on television here.
You can always throw on like an NFL network, an MLB network, NBA, NHL, Big Ten, something like that, where it's like, give us something to watch as opposed to again a screensaver. Or
there's just also a chance. There's just also a chance that you're going to hook someone in, especially now with gambling. Especially with gambling, I think you have to be attentive. If people are gambling on their phones, you can hook someone into live betting now. So you will at some point here. You can't do that right now, I guess, but you will be able to hook. You're going to be able to hook someone in with live gambling if you throw up. Like, I don't care if it's like the FCS semifinals. Like, you can't have Franklin and Bash on TNT if the FCS semifinals is on. I know they don't show that show anymore, but
Suits
that was always
reruns.
Yeah,
like I just don't need to see,
Big Bang Theory.
I don't need to see CSI Boise. Like, give me a sporting event. I just don't understand how you mess this up. Or like get people talking about politics. Throw on Hannity and put the subtitles on and see people going that way. Do something. Whatever. Banks. Let's get off this. Now I could go at this for 20 minutes. Banks.
I mean, I have to kind of go back to the well here and piggyback off yours. It's not the TV selection, it's TV quantity. I want as many TVs as possible. I want wall to wall. If you hadn't already been kind of mid rant there or you were like ready to throw the conversation for us to discuss your pick a little further, I would have taken that segue and just gone Looney's in College Park. One of the great bars for watching as many things as you want at any given time. I would say there's not enough bars in Federal Hill, at least, that are like wall-to-wall TVs. There's some good bars to watch sports in. There's no great bar to watch sports in.
Correct.
And I think there's a niche that exists in this neighborhood to build a bar and just make it wall-to-wall TVs and just have everything on all the time. It's like, man,
what's the best bar in the city for it? Like Looney's Canton because it's Looney's and they have 60 TVs.
It's hard to say. I don't know what that answer is.
I want people to tweet at us what their favorite bar to watch sports is in the city. And if you don't live in the city or don't come in the city, in the state, what's your favorite?
It's specific though. It's not best bar to go watch a game. What is the best bar to just go like March Madness? Where you want to watch?
What's
everything?
the best
Where
bar that you think that feels like an ESPN zone to you?
Oh,
man.
don't talk about
But yes,
our
you're right.
stats.
That you're gonna have all 4 March Madness games on in a yes. That is a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, that with quantity TVs, I'd be interested to hear what people say.
Somebody's gonna say Horseshoe Baltimore.
Probably. I don't even know what people say in Fed. Don't know. They have a lot of TVs. They're just kind of
I don't
all
know.
over the place.
They have.
They're just
I
placed
wouldn't say they have a
bizarrely.
lot of TVs. It's just very well situated where everywhere.
Yeah,
They're
but there's
kinda
not a
surrounded
wall to
by
wall one where
TVs,
you can
but
like jump at the
you
bar and you go bang, bang, bang.
you look up at that new watershed there on top of the market, where their TVs are laid out makes no sense. You were sitting at a stool and like the TVs are overhanging, but if you're outside, anywhere outside of the bar, the TV's hanging down in your way to see across to the TVs on the other side of the bar. Horrible TV placement. Terrible.
That was gonna be mine. Is like TV sight lines. I'll loop that in.
Are
With
you taking it?
That's a bad quality. If we were taking like what the worst qualities are,
Well,
maybe that would be the pick. But
no, I think like I'm not gonna
quality
take it. But,
sightlines, I guess.
well, I don't want to.
It's so the one thing about Baltimore is there's tons of row houses and row house style buildings, and that kind of limits your ability to,
Yep.
the walling and all those types of things. And certain bars do it better than others. And like the Charles is the gigantic screen, and there's something to be said about that. But also
I think,
these other bars.
this isn't like a shot necessarily. I mean, we're using Baltimore bars as an example because it's localized to the audience and because those are the bars we go to. But there are spatial challenges in a lot of these places where they just can't do these things.
100%.
But we're talking about our perfect bar. It's not like hey, bar X in Fells, go stick 60 TVs up there because whatever. But like in a perfect world, this is what you would want.
I legitimately think I can't think of any bar I'd rather just be dropped into than College Park Loonies for just watching
So good.
on a
So
college
good.
football Saturday or whatever.
After the Maryland game against Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, I had a few post-game drinks at Loon Dogs, and it's just you can sit anywhere in the bar and see every single game.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, except for maybe like right up at the front. But once you go into like it was called like an atrium where the walls go up sort of like high, really high, you can see everything. It's amazing. And like you can almost see there are things on where I'm like, I can't believe they even have the ability to have this on and I still can see everything else. Like there'll be like the ACC network will have like Florida State, Virginia women's soccer on. And I'm like, I can't believe they have a TV that wouldn't go to another game. But I'm like, oh, I have that to watch too. I can just turn and watch that if I like. It's awesome.
Brian,
Shout out to Looney's College Park.
When we were in College Park for the Maryland baseball game, we went to Looney's before the Terps game, and it was it wasn't the opening day, but they had every single college baseball game.
It was all the college baseball games happening at once. It was
every single
awesome.
one, yeah. Which again is the best.
Place.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know if my buddy does it, but my friend who works there, I'm sure he has a hand to do with what's on the TV. He has a good pulse on the. He texted me that you were there. I think a couple weeks ago, Taylor.
This is an incredible exchange on Twitter. I have to. So Scott Van Pelt tweeted, he got a new dog. And obviously everyone has seen the Scott Van Pelt ode to his
Otis,
his dog that passed away, which was beautiful. He tweeted a picture and Gary Williams just tweeted back, dog has some ears. That's awesome.
Oh, Gary.
That's awesome.
I gotta see this dog now.
It's great.
It's a very cute dog. It's a
great
looking dog.
It's crazy too, because every Scott Van Pelt tweet is like the most perfectly tweeted tweet ever. Like
it really is.
The wording, everything about him is just like, I'm like, I could never have come up with something that eloquent and like well written, well thought out. He's the best. He's the best.
Dog has some ears.
All righty. I'm taking
RTF2.
I'm going good service. If a bartender is not paying attention, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. North Beach in Dewey, we went there, awful. Like if the bartenders are more interested in like taking shots and drinking themselves while there's a crowded bar, it's like, all right, it was absolutely horrible. And this, I mean, it goes for every place. Like we've all been to a bar with a bad bartender. Like I went to, I forget the place.
And not even just like that from like like also just attitude is a huge thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge thing
Sometimes
about
people have bad days and then people get it when people have bad days, or they're just, people make mistakes, but it's a difference when it's like your attitude stinks.
Mhm.
It just doesn't take much to, whatever.
Yeah. And again, it's like being quick with the drinks. And again, that I guess that also depends on if you got dickheads at the bar ordering espresso martinis at like 8 o'clock on a Saturday. Those people are never welcome in any bar. But
Depends what kind of bar, but probably not the type of bar that we're
any of the bars that we're talking
here.
about, yeah. Like our friend of the program, JJ, has like a whole he goes off on the college kids who order espresso martinis. You can imagine his like you're not going to Pickles the pregame and Orioles game with an espresso martini. Like if you try and do that at Pickles, you deserve to get your ass kicked. So I'm good. Yeah, good. I mean, good service again. If you're quick with beers and drinks, like I will tip you a very good amount. If it's like, you see I'm empty, bring another one over. I'm going that. So good service for my first one.
Great value.
Second one, I'm going like appropriate TV and music volume. Like we've all been in the bar where it's either too quiet and like you're like you can hear the TV, but it's not loud, or the music, or it's too loud and you're like, I'm screaming to the person next to me, and nobody in here is enjoying this. Like that's like a band that's too loud, or just the radio, touch tunes, whatever they're playing, TV, any of that stuff. If it's too loud, it absolutely ruins everyone's experience. Bartenders, the crowd, everything. So gotta have a good noise level.
There's an unnamed, I will not name the name on this one, Federal Hill bar that has totally lost its sense of itself from a volume perspective on music.
Subscribe to our Patreon to hear all.
I don't know which one it is.
We will name all the names on our Patreon.
I might do that TikTok trend now where you flip the it's like, oh, who'd I like have my first kiss with? And they flip the phone, the picture, and you can't see it. Just do that with bar names during this. That's a great pick.
It was
because
it goes.
It was gonna get picked by me next had it gotten down to me. It is because you're right. It goes both ways. Like there's also times where you're just like, where is the noise in here? Like, where is the vibe? And then there's other times like, why am I screaming at someone from 30, from an inch away?
Yeah. It's like the Happy Gilmore, though. Like, make a little noise up in here. Like, just you need something. You need something static in the background. So,
yeah,
good pick.
Thanks.
This is just such an interesting position for me to be in, knowing that you've got two behind me. I'm going to take the Golden Tee. I got to take Golden Tee. I'm going to do it. I'm taking Golden Tee right now. Second round pick. It's just something that's going to get me going every single time. If I see a Golden Tee, there's a good chance that I'm going to play it. It gets people going. It's a great way to just spend an hour and a half playing a full 18. Something fun to do with the boys. It's a reason to go to the bar. So I'm taking Golden Tee. It's a classic. So I could have taken maybe a more general pick, but I feel like that would box off a little too many potential picks. So for the sake of the draft, I'm going to be pretty narrow with it and just take Golden Tee.
I mean, I'm not arguing with that pick. It's a great pick. I love Golden Tee. It's so fun. I guess the only bad part about that pick is you can, everyone can't play, so it's a little exclusive, but fuck those people.
Yeah, fuck them.
I will say Looney's in Maple Lawn, which is, I guess, my home field bar, my hometown bar, used to have their Golden Tee.
That's a pretty good Looney's, by the way.
Oh, it's a great Looney. It's a great
Looney.
It's
a very good Looney's.
Yeah.
Looney's is getting a lot of free publicity on this show.
Yeah.
They used to have, I don't think they do anymore. They used to have their Golden Tee like literally on the dance floor. So like it was a rough spot. It was like,
well,
What's that like?
Wayward.
yeah, but like Wayward isn't like they don't have bands there, right? No one's like, you're
but
not
they stick the
No, but there's
DJ
not a lot of
with
real estate.
There's also just not a lot of room. It's not even really their fault. There's no other way. There's no really other place to put it. The issue is that people filter to the back when there's still a lot of room in the front there. And it would just be nice if there's a little respect when the boys are like on the back nine and we have like 20 minutes left. Just like
step off. Like it's a tight round, and the stakes are high, and there's less room for us to operate than there was
20
before.
minutes. Like we're probably leaving. Like you're gonna have your time at flip night. We're probably not staying. We want to like go across the street. Like just give us 20 minutes. Just a little sense.
You got someone screaming in your.
Although it hasn't been on. Like when I went in there on Sunday, that wasn't on. So maybe Way Peace is struggling again.
Just a NFL Sunday move, probably.
That's true. That's true. I think I have to take this at this point in the draft. I'm taking a good bathroom situation. I just think it's key. It's key in all facets too. It's key. You know, you want to have a nice place to do your business in the middle of the day, should you be at a bar. And then it is even more key at late night. Like if you're in a long line, that is just one of the more demoralizing places to be.
It's a momentum killer.
It really is. And it kind of changes at times, like what you want to do. Like if you're standing there and you feel like you can't go to the bathroom, it takes your vibes down. Momentum killer is a great way to put it. Like it just, and everyone can sense it too. Like everyone knows when you're in a certain bar and it gets to a certain level of crowdedness. If you've been to a place a lot, you're like, this is a line situation. And this is just going to suck to have to go stand in this line.
It's a 15 to 20 minute adventure to go to the bathroom. Like,
yeah. Especially if you're in a place and you've got to weave through people and then stand in the line. Where does the line start? Where does the line,
Oh, are you in line? Oh, are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to have that awkward interaction. If someone, goes in and is in there for a while because they're like passed out, then you're just even bringing down the process more. And there's places that and this is also a spatial thing. There are places that you just don't have the space to put a lot of bathrooms in. But if I was, building a perfect bar, it would just have elite bathrooms, just because you're trying to filter people in and out. And honestly, and I don't know how much people are paying for these things, but you see them every once in a while. I would go bathroom attendant. I was going to pivot towards that conversation. We just don't seem to have many places with that here in Baltimore. And I'm fine with that because at times that can be a little bit of a socially awkward it's a bit weird. Adventure. It's definitely weird.
It's a bit much. I don't know.
It's a Larry David situation. Like,
but you see it in places work. Get people in and out. Let's not dawdle. Get me back into the
even
mix.
Just a traffic cop type situation.
Something. But good bathroom situation is just so unbelievably key in a bar, in my opinion.
Limit guys to one shake at the the and then you get them out. The traffic cop kind of thing.
Yep.
Good pick.
Okay, I'm glad to have that one. That was one of my higher on the board. This has been good. I've loved all these picks you guys have taken so far too. This is where it gets a little interesting. I'm gonna go with a little similar to your pick, Banks, in terms of one. I think where I could go super general, but for the sake of including more picks and even picks I might take down the road, I'm gonna make it a little smaller. I'm going to take good shareable foods. And I think the prime example is the wedges. Is those wedges. I mean, that is like food, things like that, like where you go to a bar and you know their best thing you get for the table. That is to me, a place that takes a good bar to a great bar when they have that specific thing. So maybe that's more of the thing.
Just a go-to item where
the go-to order for the table, like where you sit down and everyone enjoys it, they like it. I love that.
You're getting this, and of course we're getting that for the table.
Yeah. Onion rings is one. Onion rings is one.
Like you don't know what you're going to eat for the meal yet, but you're each ordering a beer, and then it's let's get those wedges now. Let's get that in. We're going to eat them.
Yeah.
We're going to.
I'm at Crossbar. Let's just get a pretzel. Let's bring a pretzel over. Everyone munches. especially if you know you're going to be there for a little bit and maybe another meal's coming. Like, I just think that is just such a, and when bars don't have that, or they just don't give it to you the right way, that's always upsetting to me. So I'll say it as shareables, but the order for the table is my overall point there.
So shareable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Banks.
I'm gonna take, let's see. I could narrow it again here. I could not. I'm gonna take good specials. I think a
Ooh.
reason to go out on a given night for a given thing, or just like a consistent deal that's at a bar consistently that you can go to, and you just know you're gonna go in there, and it might be unique to that bar and you just enjoy it a lot, and it's just a nice reason and occasion or excuse to go out to the bar and do that thing. Or even just like it's a nice surprise when you walk in and it's like, oh, those are 250 today. Like, yeah, give me a bucket of those or whatever. I think it just gets the vibes up, and like I said, any reason to get your ass out there and get some people together is a great thing. And so I'm just gonna take specials.
You ever
Good
walk
specials.
into a surprise 2-for-1?
Yeah,
Oh,
you bet your
I love
you
how
bet your
specific
ass
that
off.
was.
it's I mean, it happened to Marty and I at Jimmy's once. We went to Jimmy's and we both ordered drinks, and they brought us over 2, and we were like, oh no, we didn't, we only ordered 1. And they were like, oh, it's 2-for-1. And we were just like,
Yeah, you did.
I mean, yeah, keep it coming. Like, there's nothing.
Imagine somebody going to coconuts and not knowing.
Like, well,
Yeah.
we did that at I didn't really know it was
You
at
did
One
that at
Star.
One Star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get 8 high noons? And he was like, do you want 8 or 16? I need 16. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, keep it coming. Yeah, specials are good. Specials are.
Yeah, very good. Very good. And I agree with you. The random appearance of good ones is good. And then the consistent one that it's the Wednesday thing, it's the Thursday thing, it's the Saturday thing. That is also just so appreciated. When bars like hit that and find their niche with those, it's a game changer. It's very, very good.
Union Jackson, Columbia, like way back when, used to have a $10 to $11 anything, and it was a nightmare. It was awesome, but there at 11:30, there were some. It got bad. It got bad very quick. Yes.
I mean, McGurk's had cheesesteak night on Thursdays, which was incredible. And then,
Are you not up to date on your group chats?
no, I saw that. I thought that was just a one night only.
Oh no, I think it's back.
Oh, that's interesting. That is more to
Mhm.
come in this space about that. I thought they were just doing it as a promotion. Oh, okay. I didn't read that fully. Okay.
I think it's back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Me.
RDT. Yeah.
I'm going. This is how do I'll just say straight up no cover. Like, if there is I want to say like appropriate cover, no cover. Again, North Beach in Dewey, we went on a Thursday night in the beginning of April, off season, and it was a $10 cover, and it was like, for what? That was also in addition to $8 Bud Lights. So it was just like, I get it's off season, but like, we're doing a $10 cover on a Thursday. I get it if there's a band, sure, but like, I've been to places where the band comes in at 9 and cover starts at 7, and it's like, I'm not even going to be here for the band. Like, I'm coming to get food.
For dinner.
yeah. Like, so that's like, I don't know if you want to say no cover, appropriate cover. I understand why there's a cover. I understand some places need to have it. But again, like most of I don't do any of the places in Baltimore do a cover. I'm sure like Looney's maybe, again, like a Friday or a Saturday night.
We know a place that does, but we're not going to give them any publicity here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know either if you want to put it no cover or appropriate cover. I think either one works.
I think that's a good pick. I think here's a weird thing about cover. You would think that as you get older, you would care less about spending money on things because you just have a more consistent income than when you're a younger person. Cover feels so much more acceptable to pay when you're 20 one than when you're 30.
Well, it's because
just
you're also
what-
I'm going to spend $200 tonight and I'm going to get absolutely shit housed.
Yeah.
Like
It's
this doesn't matter. It's just an obstacle in my way right now, as opposed to like when you're older. Yeah. See, like I was going to say this one is going to be, I was going to say like good appetizers. Like I don't know. I'll leave this up to you guys if it falls under shareables, because I don't want like.
I would say it's very much the same thing.
Okay. All
To a
right.
certain
Yeah,
I'll skip it
I think
then.
the
I get
spirit
what you're
behind
saying,
it
but-
especially is
Yeah. I would go different place. I think that's a weak
Yeah.
pick from you if you pick
Okay.
that for your
All right. Well, because I was thinking again, like I'm not getting a burger. I'm not getting this or that. If it's like a group of us at a bar, it's like, again, you get wings, you get a pretzel, you get
Yeah.
fried
That's
pickles.
essentially, yeah. That's essentially my pick.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I will say, I think a great bar has a great outdoor patio situation. I love being able to switch from inside out. I love being able, and again, it's like, obviously you talk about some of the bars of Baltimore, just the way that the physical way the building is kept, it's you can't have that. But some of the bars where, again, you can go from inside out, and it's like a patio where it's not covered in the smoke, like it's not the smoking section where you walk out and it's just smoke and cigarettes everywhere. Again, I love being able to go outside to like a nice outdoor area where it's like, oh, maybe they have another guy playing guitar or like another guy singing, something like that. It changes the pace of the inside. It's good to get some fresh air every now and then, when you're out, you take a lap, you go outside, see who you spot out there, and you head back in. So I'm a sucker for a good patio, some nice string lights, maybe an outdoor TV or two, and have some
Good outdoor seating.
Especially like this time too.
Also, bad outdoor seating is bad.
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
So
That's
bad.
right. I mean,
it's so frustrating.
It has to be good, but like this time of the year where it's like at night, it's like 65, 70 degrees. It's a little chilly, but like it's a nice change of pace from the hot.
Yeah, if you throw on like a long sleeve or like a QZ and you're just comfy.
Yeah. Yeah. You
not
throw a
bad.
hoodie on and it's like, oh, you got a hoodie in the car. It's that changes it. So we'll go patio.
Thanks.
You put me in a spot on that where I might circle back with something. But for now, I'm gonna take beer selection. I know somebody like Taylor, he likes his domestics and he's gonna stick with those. He's gonna be a happy man about it. But I do like myself a craft beer from time to time. I like to have options. I like to have a lot of different things at my, available to my fingertips. And I think just like a good healthy beer list, or like one that just is sure to have the fastballs, like some things that you just know are local things that should be expected to be had. And there's not enough bars that oftentimes have those in this area because they're just maybe a little too cheap to just go out and spend on that thing that is typically, pretty popular around here, that kind of thing. So I think a good healthy beer selection is a key for me.
It's nice to have a lot of like options on draft too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes there's just not a lot of things on draft at some of these bars, and I don't really like when I'm going to a bar necessarily like want to drink a lot of things like out of a can or a bottle. I just like when something's given to me on draft. So,
but I don't like the too many, like where it's like
when it's overwhelming and you can't
like
see it. Yeah,
we don't need, and it's like you order like an A15 because it's up on the video board, and that's how they read it on the draft. It's like each one is a spot. Like just keep it a moderate selection.
I'm too big of a man to make some sort of literacy joke here, given the status of some of us here in this podcast. Literacy is not the right word, but
no, yeah, geez. I mean, no, go ahead.
I said I'm not going to do it, so I won't.
Good, wow. Thank you. Respectfully.
Respectfully. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
After that, I am going to take two super similar things, but they're different, but they are very similar. But Banks made this easy for me. I was going to do like good beer drink selection. I'm just going to take good tunes. You got to have the right tunes.
Yeah.
And so many bars struggle with tunes, but when you hit tunes out of the park and you get people singing along, or you get people, getting them in the right vibe and the right time. When bars do that, music can do so much for a bar. It can promote discussion, like, oh, you heard this, blah, blah, blah. Who's this by? We do a lot of who's this by.
I haven't heard this song in so long.
Among
Like,
our group of friends. You can get just when everyone's like hammered, just the natural bar sing along is always tremendous. So you got to have good tunes. I love the value I'm getting there. I think music is so key to a bar, even though I would have taken your pick to RDT. The volume is also a big part of it. And then I have to take this karaoke. I love karaoke, and a good bar with good karaoke is so fun for me. So I'm taking that as a self-serving pick. I love singing karaoke. So I'm taking karaoke. And there are not a lot of good karaoke bars in this city.
No, but they do exist.
They do exist. And I love the Waltz, even though the Waltz could staff a little bit better in terms of how they're staffing their karaoke times. I was at one point hosting karaoke at the Waltz, so just as a patron. But so I'm taking 2 music picks. I think people that know me would know I'm a pretty big music person, so from being out standpoint. So, and we've seen how it can hurt a bar if they go away from their wheelhouse. Banks was tweeting about it the other day. So
I sure was.
you can go back in his Twitter if you'd like to find that discussion.
We're just leaving a bunch
out
of
there.
things along the way of the bars.
Yeah. Banks, as you curl up in a blanket, you have one more pick.
I'm between 2 things, and they're very similar in nature. I'm just going to take outlets. I think if there are outlets around the bar, just in comfortable places that are very convenient, it's just a nice little amenity. There's even a couple bars that have the pads on the bars now that you can just lay the phone on and it charges.
The best.
Ooh,
So
that's a
good.
game
Yeah, but
changer.
it's when it works, it's beautiful. It's so
I think
good.
if you're building a bar in 2022 and you're not doing that, you are just not doing what you should be doing.
Yeah,
People leave the bar to charge their phone or because their phone is dying. If you can keep them on their phone, you can keep them at the bar.
Yeah, it'll pay for itself.
Yep.
Easy.
Good pick. That's a good pick.
That's a good pick. It's a very
I think that's going to become, like, as we head through the next 20 years, as people like change bars or renovate bars, build bars, that's just going to be the norm at some point for any place that's redone itself. Finish it off, Eric.
All righty. What do I want? This kind of just came to me in the last, following off Banks, is good Wi-Fi. Bar has shitty Wi-Fi. Again, I mean, you might as well just have a brick. Like, why even have your phone? Again, we're always on our phone, whether you're gambling, you're doing social media, stuff like that. Like,
what do you have, a data plan?
No, but it's like, if you can't get service and you can't send a text, like, hey, we're at the
that
bar.
sucks.
Yeah, it's like the worst. Like, so, if it's in a bad spot, like I think when Looney's Maple Lawn first started, like the area was not developed around there, and like the service was not great, and like you had to connect to their Wi-Fi. There were some rough times there, but yeah, if you're like in the dead zone and you just can't get any service to send a text, send a tweet, send an Instagram, anything, like you can't pull up your bets or something like that, it's awful. So we'll go. It has to have good Wi-Fi, good service, good Wi-Fi, whatever, however you want to word it.
It's a good pick. Two technology picks there to end, but both very key. I took TV management, good bathroom situation, good shareables, good tunes, and karaoke. Banks took TV quantity, golden tea, good specials, beer selection, and outlets. Charging stations is, I guess, where I would places to charge.
Well, I should also mention not just outlets, but also the ones that have the little USB.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I assume when you said outlet.
That's
what I think of as an outlet.
And they can include the chords, include the chords too. Even better.
Include the chords. Include the clues. RD2 took good service, appropriate volume, no cover, great outdoor seating, and good Wi-Fi. That was a good draft. Anything that you guys have on the board? I was gonna say good bouncers is one.
I was
We've
going to say
seen-
not dickhead bouncers.
Not dickhead bouncers.
Bad bouncers can ruin a bar. You know who I love? I love the bouncer at Don't Know on a Friday night. That guy's
awesome. Yeah,
That guy is
awesome.
great vibes.
He is awesome.
Very niche pick, but not a pick, but that guy's awesome. I had this was the other one I was between. This is so key during the winter. Hooks under the bar to put your jacket.
Mhm.
Yep.
Very low key important. I had speedy service, kind of goes with the good service, good staff, like whatever it might be. I had photo hunt, pop a shot, no dress code, because that's a whole thing in itself. And then I had dock bar and your outdoor one, kind of like
I
there's
had
some overlap there where I was kind of like, love a good dock bar.
I had pool bar. Like if you're a pool bar, like
Okay.
I had that, bar games, touch tunes, again falls into the music. And then
darts was a miss.
You say darts? Well, that falls into the bar game.
Darts was a miss.
That falls
Yeah,
into
darts
the bar
was
game.
all those games. I had darts and pool on mine.
Pool,
just-
shuffleboard, any of those.
Yeah, that's probably the miss of the draft is those type of games. We just took golden. There's a specific golden. Tee pick.
Yeah, I went for golden tee early. I tried to leave it open so those things get taken, and they didn't really get taken.
I just never got it there. I just went
games.
double music. I almost did it when I took the double music, but I love karaoke. But yeah, the bar game's a good call.
My last one, which I was going to take until the Wi-Fi one popped into my head. I'm a sucker for a good fish tank behind the bar. I love a good fish tank. I think it's so cool. Like I think
fish tank.
Yeah, fish tank. You get some like the Loonies in Maple Lawn used to have a shark in theirs. They had an eel, like a puffer fish. I think that
boy, do I have a place for you.
that sets the ambiance and the decor, man. It sets it off. Tell you what.
I was gonna say,
they let you pour your own sodas.
Proper lighting is definitely
lighting was a potential pick. Yeah. Like a good novelty drink. I thought about that too. Just like, and also just a thing and like just a niche. Like I was gonna say a thing a given thing.
A thing you come back for is sort of like a novelty drink.
Yeah, just something unique. Just like, oh, that's the place that does that. That's different.
Oh, I want a margarita. Let's go here. Like
having a live drummer or really singable nostalgic tunes.
I took or I didn't take. I had on the board seating both in arrangement and very specifically there are a few things more annoying than like a bar stool with a bad leg, a little shaky, or a table that's a little rickety. That type of stuff, when that happens to you, is just it's just a little knife in the back from the I'm sticking to my stomach. It's a little knife in the back from the bar. Like that, just seating, those little seating things, you just got to get those things right. That kind of goes into the bar hooks too. Like a bar being the right height, I think is big. You'd have a bar where you have seating where your legs don't hang, or things like that. Like there's just some of those seating things that sometimes get missed and it's annoying.
It was when we came up with this idea for a starting five, I immediately thought bar stools with backs on them.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me at this old age of mine. I gotta have a back. I just can't do this the classic stool anymore. I just can't do it. I love a bar that does cheap Long Island iced teas and has all the high school jerseys of the local hometown around.
Not a chain,
maybe some deals on all you can eat boneless wings.
Well, it's also, I mean, it's a family
strawberry lemonades so they have like $1 strawberry lemonades there. Ooh, I think at one point.
Don't freckled lemonade from Red Robin. Don't.
Oh my God! Has that been taken? Have we taken Red Robin in a draft? We've talked about freckled lemonade before. I think we
randomly went there with my parents like 6 weeks ago. It was
delightful. Where
freckled lemonade.
Where was it? There's a Red Robin there. I love Red Robin. It's so good.
Steal the fry. You steal the fry.
We gotta do sit down chains.
I just want to go to a Red Robin.
I may pick Red Robin first overall.
I wouldn't go that far. But
There's
I
just-
know
I
who
love
would
Red.
take.
I have loved Red Rock River. The one in Towson I've been to 100 times.
Yeah.
It's right across from Calvert Hall. It's right
Yep.
across from Calvert Hall. Oh,
Yep.
they used to have a GameStop right there too.
Close to. Oh, that GameStop's
Sheesh.
gone.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
I can see
GameStops
that.
like just don't exist anymore at this point.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
can
how people
download
buy
everything
video games.
virtually.
Towson Place, one of the underrated shopping situations in the state, I would say.
That's where
A lot of
the Target.
lot of things.
I saw.
Target and Walmart back to back. Stunning. Used to be a Toys R Us there too.
Yeah,
I think that's
Chipotle.
gone. It's got to be gone. Chipotle's there. There's like a Qdoba right there. Very, very close as you go kind of across. There's a believe there's a Noodles and Company.
Yeah,
There's
there
a
is.
music
Yep.
company there.
Panera. There was a Golf Galaxy that might now be gone.
I don't think that's there.
But a lot of different things you can do. You have a pet. There's a PetSmart. Everything. Marshalls. Great.
I was like,
PSW.
it occurred to me right when we finished this draft that just straight up wings weren't taken, like good wings.
I
And
almost
it's just
took
such a,
that.
like a. It's like
I took
so
shareables
generic,
instead.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I kind of
That's
lump
a-
that in
a
with
thing that can-
shareables.
it's a thing that can elevate a bar in itself a lot.
Yeah, especially a good wings and a wing deal. Ooh.
Yeah.
That gets you into a bar.
Yeah.
A good wings and then they do a deal on a night, whatever that may be. They get you into a bar for
Mhm.
sure. For sure.
Good draft.
Anything else?
I like
Tweet ones we
bars.
missed. I'm sure there's one we missed that people have. So, Nick Kaner Medley, Maryland, person of the week. RDT.
Adnan Syed is a free man after all these years. Free my
Yeah.
man Adnan. Again, Serial. I think Serial was the very first podcast that I listened to that a lot of people listened to. Like that came out in 2013 or 14.
Been a while. Yeah.
Like
Was
a
that
long-
long?
it's been, let me look up Serial Adnan podcast. That was a long time ago. It came out in, no, not that. Come on. Season 1 podcast. It's not going to have
Just
a
like
date.
some picture blogs about it in the old
Yeah. I mean, it was
format,
way,
like in the old like interface.
yeah, like it was way, I want to say it's got to be.
Generic wallpaper in the background.
What year did Serial come out? God damn it. It's not going to give it to me. 2014.
Hmm.
Yeah. Won a Peabody Award in April 2015. Like it's so again, I mean, obviously the story of like Heyman Lee and Adnan Syed and Jay, and he's been in jail since I believe 1999. And there's been a ton of like the appeals, and this his case went to trial again. And then like yesterday or Friday or something, they were like, oh, Monday's case is going to go to court again. And there's a chance he gets out. And then like today at like 2:30, it was just like, oh yeah, Adnan's like literally walking out of the courthouse right now. And I don't know. And it's like, it's funny because it's very rarely like people being like, I don't know if he did it. It's very like, I think he did it. And I think he didn't do it. I'm in the, I don't think he did it camp. And I may be wrong because again, he's been in jail for 23 years for alleged murder, but I was happy to see him get out today. I thought it was some awesome stuff. So if you're a true crime podcast fan, I'm sure you've listened to it or you've watched the thing on HBO. And there's a new episode dropping tomorrow morning. Listen to it right after you listen to ours. So shout out to Adnan for being free after all these years.
Thanks.
Joe Flacco. That's an easy pick. I mean, the guy owns the Cleveland Browns, 18-3. Like you said, with Marlon and everything. Lost the blow was softened a little bit by everybody else losing, and that couldn't happen without Joe Flacco. 4 tutties. There's no way they put Zach Wilson back in. No way. He's gonna go play the Bengals this week too. We'll see how that goes.
I was told he doesn't show emotion though. He didn't show any emotion in the locker room after the game, right?
Just so many videos of him having emotion, but that's fine. Let the internet have their fun.
Those were cool videos of him like in the locker room, you know, being pretty jacked up. I thought that was
37-year-old Joe Flacco. Yeah.
It was very cool.
Stabby.
Yeah, so he's
Stabby's
got
video too. He said trade Lamar straight up for him. Great video if you didn't see it.
Bengals and then Steelers are the next 2 teams on his schedule. There's just no way they don't let him play those games out. Like they have to. It's honestly like some storybook shit for him to just get a run at all four AFC North teams on his way out, probably. Like, I mean, who knows what happens from here, but yeah.
Very cool to see. Good career for that guy. I think he's going to be fondly remembered by people. Not just in Baltimore. Like, I think people look back and be like, Joe Flacco was fun.
Maybe
Yeah,
not. Maybe not Denver, but
no, there'll be some fan base specifically. But I think like the general NFL, like,
no,
Joe
I'm
Flacco's
saying
not an
like
asshole.
Oh yeah.
They can blame Vic Fangio for that one.
Vic.
What's he doing now? Nothing.
I think he's D coordinator somewhere.
Is he? Did he get picked up?
I'm pretty sure he did. I think
peek
he's
at
just right back to doing the same old shit.
No, Fangio most recently was head
Nothing.
coach
It's
of
not
the.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Vic Fangio. Another guy, John Harbaugh, got the better.
I almost thought that he had just gone right back to Chicago. But I guess not.
With Flus.
I guess he made it to the end of last year too. I thought he
Yeah.
got fired before then, but
Yeah, it
we
says
had
they
the whole thing
fired
with
him.
him last year about the record.
They lost at the in the regular season finale. They parted ways with him. 19-30 in 3 seasons. 7-9, 5-11, 7-10. Don't let the door hit you, buddy.
Tough. I'll just make this easy. I'll go with the Terps. Big win on Saturday.
Fun win.
You know, we'll see where it goes. Fun win. I know everyone that roots for Maryland gets their back up. It's like, oh, they're great in August, and then it all falls apart. This team's fun. I mean, Talia Tagovailoa is a good quarterback. They have fun skill position players. Roman Hemby,
Yeah, dude.
very fun to watch. I think he will play in the NFL. Like legit speed. Can do a lot of things.
That's
Apparently,
three of their receivers.
Yeah, I mean, Rakim Jarrett and Jacob Copeland and Jay-Sean Jones, Dante Demas, obviously, and then Jay-Sean Jones, maybe. It's a fun team. We'll see what happens against Michigan. Michigan is, good. They're also a team that they're also one of the better teams you always feel like you could get in the game with. They don't feel like an Alabama or Ohio State where, but then they kind of do their thing, and a lot of times they win by a lot. But we'll see. If Terps keep it competitive and then maybe win, and as I said, win by 40, and then they'll beat Michigan State by 50, and we'll be off and running. But good win for the Terps. Good weekend in general for the Terps. No Maryland teams lost this weekend, so shout out to all of the teams, including men's soccer, 1-2-1. My guys ranked up to 5th in the top drawer soccer poll. So play tomorrow.
I took a mental guess at what the spread was for that Maryland Michigan game. Do you know what it is?
No. You want me to guess?
Take your guesses. I'll tell you what my guess was, and then I'll tell you what the spread is.
Michigan by 21.5.
I was going to say like 17.5.
I said 20.5, and the spread's 17. So I was like, oh, okay. Vegas,
that's a little more respect for the Terps. Then
some respect.
I was going
exactly.
It felt like unranked Maryland against top 10 Big Ten team the last few years, except for I guess when they have this undefeated record early, the spread goes down a little bit. Felt like it was in between 20 and 24 or 25 every time. That was like where that spread sat at like 3 touchdowns, around 3 touchdowns. So that's a little lower.
And this is on the road too.
Yeah, and on the road, especially on the road. Yeah, it would always go up. Not that I care about the spread or anything, NCAA. Don't bet on it. Do not bet on it. So yeah, we'll see how the Terps do this weekend. But SMU loves to throw the ball. They just tossed it around.
That dude Rice is gonna be a guy.
Yeah, he was very good. He was very, very good. That guy was very good. Tanner Mordecai. He was fine. He was fine as well.
That third quarter, the penalties in that third quarter were just.
Oh God.
I couldn't. Originally that took all the talk away from how bad the broadcast team was, which is where all the tweets.
Oh, Devin Gardner was terrible.
Yeah, did not hear good things about the broadcast.
Yeah,
at all. So shout out to the Terps. Any honorable mentions from anybody? And Script Terps coming back from Michigan State game, so that excites everybody.
I was going to give myself an honorable mention, but I'm not. for stepping in and having to play last night because one of our guys couldn't show up. So
What? Yeah, as you have like nerve damage or something. What is going on with you?
I don't know, but I'm getting a ton of good recommendations. I got physical therapists sending me stretching exercises and resistant bands exercises to do to try and fix whatever I got going on. It has to be a pinched nerve. Has to be.
How are you feeling?
I just can't feel my arm. And like it's shooting pain down right here, but it's because of my great posture, as you can see, as I huddled over a computer for 20 of the 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
It's awful, but Tatertown we split last night. So that was a good win. A coach does what he has to do.
Sure.
You guys would understand.
Banks.
No, I think that's it. I think I don't know that I'm ready to give anybody any more honorable mentions after that Ravens game yesterday. So just you can't,
I will say
no dessert for those guys.
I will say that the Maryland football team was 1-0 when I appear as a hype man for the flag drop before. So, but the students grabbed the flag and started the drop before it was supposed to start. That's how hype they got.
That's how, yeah.
What can I say? What can I say? I'm not giving myself an honorable mention, but I think it's worth mentioning during this part of the show. But I'm not giving myself
honorably, of course.
Respectful first.
Respectful.
Honorably second. Respectfully first, though. Honorably second. I mean, what can I say? We'll see if I'm up there again in a couple of weeks.
I'm surprised that you don't have like the clip itself.
I need to get it.
Because you've got that Snapchat video of it, but
I do. I need to get it. Maybe I'll post it. We'll see if that's, I don't also want to, ruin the in-venue experience for people coming to the game in a couple of weeks. You want to be surprised by those.
Subscribe to our Patreon and you can see it.
Yes. Subscribe to our Patreon for that. And what was the other thing we had our Patreon to talk about?
The bars that we were shitting on.
Yeah, the bars we're shitting on. We go through on Xfinity 2 after hours.
I could go on and on about that one.
We really could. Yeah. We should do a Patreon just for stuff like that.
Pay us money.
Patreon's for? Yeah, pay us money.
Shit on things.
Yeah.
Could probably.
Could do that. Well, how much? I wonder how much.
We could have businesses pay us through Patreon not to shit on their businesses.
Yeah. Subscribe to our Patreon for our unfiltered thoughts on everything that happens. I will give the public my games that if Maryland loses in sports, I will resign. That will be the next thing on our Patreon.
Yeah.
After I put my job on the line twice this year. Thank you to Mike Lossley and the boys for getting it done against Charlotte and Buffalo. That's it for this week's episode of the Xfinity 2 podcast. Quick turnaround at the instant analysis, but we're all over the map from a schedule standpoint this week. RDT's going to Orioles games. Banks is going to the middle of the country.
Greater the what is it? The Great North? What do they call it?
Something like that.
Frozen tundra.
I have soccer and other Maryland events this week, so
reciprocity country.
There you go. And it worked out well. So make sure to go back. Tons of Ravens thoughts. Obviously, we talked Ravens in this one, but tons of other Ravens thoughts on the instant analysis. So if you have not heard that and you're seeing the new episode come in the feed, make sure you go back and listen to that. We will be back on Sunday with another instant analysis after Ravens Patriots, 1:00 on Fox. We'll be on right after that to discuss that game. And that will be the schedule. And then we'll have the regular show next week. Make sure to follow us on social media. You can follow Banks at Barstool Banks. Follow Eric at EDITTI22. You can follow me at Taylor Smite 10. You can follow the podcast at X32 Podcast on all of the channels. Thank you to our sponsors always. Thread Level Midnight. God, I almost just said that. I almost said Threat Level Midnight. Nope. We're talking close. Fed Thrill, Jimmy Seafood. The Jimmy Seafood Gunnar Henderson burger.
Oh my God. It looks so good.
The dipping into the cheese. I hadn't eaten lunch today. I watched that video, came across my Twitter like 11:45. I'm sitting at my desk and I almost just was convulsing. I just wanted to eat. I wanted to eat my phone. It looks so good.
Johnny texted it to me this morning. It was like, we're just waiting on the Gunner thumbs up to tweet it out. And I was like, I need this burger. It looked so good. Same thing. I saw it probably 10:30 and I was like, I may just take lunch right now. I have to eat this. I have to. It looks so
good. So I need to get over there to get that. That's out. Now they have it available now. Tonight it was available.
I think so. I know they said it's only going to be available during Orioles games. So
Oh,
I think
okay.
we may have to have an Exit 52 meetup at some point.
Yeah, geez. We'll have to figure that one out. Yeah, so shout out to them. And we'll see you next time. Well, we'll see you on Sunday. The X52 podcast presented by Jimmy's Seafood.